Now, that was for you people with the pre-show show on Facebook.
Eddie's testimony, how he's delivered from us, really, it was despair.
Yeah. Near suicidal despair, and God delivered me. And I didn't even know him. I didn't know. I was just young and dumb Catholic kid. So here we go.
Believe the lie, so everything that I know says I gotta go, tired of going solo. But I'm never gonna go there again. This is what it is. This is who I am. This is where I finally take my stand. I didn't want to fall, but I don't have to grow. I'm not the one with two star hands. Giving him the best of everything that's left of the life inside this man. I've been born again.
Yes, I've been born again.
Yeah.
We've got to get this so that our Facebook people and our eventual YouTube people can also hear our intros. But nevertheless, we're with you now, and you people can also go on later on and listen to the podcast at freshblack.coffee, and you'll get to hear the intro or the rest of it
on your smartphone app, your mobile device app. Just pull up whatever your podcasting app is.
Right. And that one, of course, is delayed. You don't get that till like Sunday night or Monday or whenever Dave gets around to it.
That's true.
Yeah.
But it takes me about 3 or 4 hours.
Oh, I understand.
Because, last week's show was 2.5 hours.
Yeah, we went long last week. We'll try to condense it and make it a little quicker today. But we're very glad to be with you. Very glad you're with us. And we hope you had a great week and have an even finer week in the week ahead. Hey, Dave, before we get into the news, I want to say I did go see Jesus Revolution.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No. Twice I was all set to go and something came up. But they did add 100 theaters this week above what they had. Yeah.
They added another 100. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really took me back. It's well done. It is well done. They didn't overdo things. They didn't underdo things. And I think Greg Laurie really did a good job in having them whoever did the production and directing, it was well done. It wasn't overdone. They didn't make anybody look bad or good.
No.
It's pretty much Greg's testimony is what it is. And the whole thing surrounding Calvary Chapel.
Yes.
And Chuck Smith and of course Lonnie Frisbee is a central character to the film. But what got me is how, why it's so special to me is because the church I got saved at, Jesus Chapel, is an offshoot of Calvary Chapel. And we were birthed, our church there in El Paso, Texas, was birthed by one of the guys, Ken Gullickson, who was one of the early young men that was involved in starting the Calvary Chapel movement there close to Mesa, California. He moved to El Paso, got it started, then moved back. And he actually, believe it or not, which is crazy too, he actually started the Vineyards. The Vineyards, which people know and actually grew to be a large movement here in America.
You know, another unique thing of the 70s and the Jesus Revolution was the rise of the local Christian coffee house. Which I ended up very much impacting my early walk with Christ, and eventually I became part of the staff there and stuff. And it's just an era. I called my younger sister, and I said, "Yeah, Debbie and I need to go see this movie." She said, "You haven't seen it?" She said, "Oh, it just so reminds me of the good old days of the coffee house."
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and and what they didn't really go into, because it was pretty much about what happened in Southern California. But it goes back to what I think we discussed it last week, where it's covered in a book called The Catholic Pentecostals, and how this revival started at Duquesne University there in Pennsylvania.
Yep.
And then I think it's in Pittsburgh. I think Duquesne is in Pittsburgh. But anyway, how these Catholic Pentecostals at this university, it started there, and then it spread. Somehow it ended up at Haight-Ashbury with all the hippies, in the late 60s in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And these hippies started getting saved. And then Lonnie Frisbee happened to be one of these hippies. And then fast forward, he ends up going south down to Costa Mesa, California. And then this thing spread to Southern California and then moved in there. So, and then it went east and not, I mean, look, I don't want to try to say that this was the only work, the only movement or anything like this, but it truly is. This is kind of where the major move was. Another person that was very important to me during this time was a man named Scott Ross. Does that name mean anything to you?
Should. I can't.
Scott Ross had a Christian commune up in Ithaca, New York. Mm-hmm. And it was a place called the Love Inn.
Yep. Yeah, you did mention that.
And it was a collection of Jesus freaks. Mm-hmm. They lived in community and everything. And probably the most notable person to get saved there was Phil Keaggy. Mm-hmm. And everybody who's a Christian and knows Christian music knows Phil Keaggy, one of the greatest guitarists, period, Christian, non-Christian, whatever, one of the greatest guitar players ever.
You know, I think about, we were leaving last week after a long show, and our last conversation out by in the parking lot with our cars, you mentioned Tommy Coombs as somebody who was instrumental in the production part, I think, of Maranatha, the record label that Chuck Smith started, and how you run into him and you just sat down with him. I forget where you guys were at, but there was some kid there with you.
Oh yeah. This is funny. Like, I got saved in June of 1973.
Yeah.
And so that October, this is all crazy stuff, how I got involved in all of this too. So I get saved at this, it was Jesus Chapel was the name of it wasn't even church at the time, Friday night fellowship.
No, is that in El Paso?
In El Paso, yeah. Mm-hmm. And so they had this concert with Love Song, who's central in the movie. Mm-hmm. So Love Song was coming through. They used to sleep, in people's living rooms and wherever. And so Love Song was coming through. So we did a concert with them there at this theater in El Paso. And so I was helping set up. Mm-hmm. So I'm walking around backstage, and this guy who turns out to be Tommy Coombs, and he sees me. Hey, brother, come here. He's giving a personal Bible study to their guitar player, Love Song's guitar player, this young kid sitting there, and he's giving and he said, hey, brother, come here. You want to sit in? I said, well, yeah, okay. It's better than working. So I sat down. So here I am, me and this young kid are doing this personal Bible study, with Tommy Coombs, and who I didn't even know at the time either, just some guy, So anyway, so he's starts giving us this Bible study, and we're just sitting there like, oh, wow. And so, we get through with the Bible study and he prays with us, me and this young kid. And then, I go back, I'm out in the audience, and the kid is their guitar player. Mm-hmm. And he said, yeah, he's only been with them for like 2 weeks, just they picked him up for this tour. And I was thinking, cause I had listened to their, album, the Love Song album, just like a week before. And I was thinking, man, it's amazing. That guitar sounds just like it is on the album. He's really good. This guy is really good. Anyway, they were gone. So then that was in about October. Well, the next summer.
But you saw something sitting there next to him. A kid had an accident.
Oh yeah. He told the story. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was missing a part of his finger.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what happened to your finger? And he said, yeah, when he was a kid, when he was 10 years old, he tripped in a department store and his finger got caught in an escalator, his ring finger. Yeah. Yeah, and on his right hand, and the escalator cut his finger off.
Man.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me of my own stories. And so anyway, so fast forward the next year, I moved to Dallas, and I started hearing this record on the radio there in Dallas. This new artist, Phil Keaggy.
Yeah.
And I said, oh man, this guy's good. I gotta go get the album. So I have the album and I listened to him for several months and and one day I'm looking at the album and I look close and I notice this Phil Keaggy guy, he's missing a finger.
Yeah.
He's missing that part of his finger. It hit me. This is the guy that I was sitting there with. This is the guy with Tommy Coombs and this young kid. That was Phil Keaggy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh my goodness, you know, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one of these crazy deals, you know, that I happened to meet him. Another one later on, we had this concert, and I'm in the back, all the way in the last row. As I just came in late and I'm sitting there and this guy's next to me looked kind of weirded out. He was real nervous and itchy and, you know, and I'm thinking, man, I wonder if I should go over and pray for this guy. He looks like he's, you know, really under it. And so, I'm waiting and all of a sudden I look and he's gone. You know, I was sitting next to him and all of a sudden they said, and now please welcome Don Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
And it was him. It was just
the scruffy old guy with the beard.
Yeah, I thought he was a homeless guy coming off the street. And I'm getting ready to pray for this guy.
Yeah.
And he was the main attraction.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. And so I used to run into all of these people. Now I became they asked me to do the concerts. I ended up, you know, becoming a
concert promoter, right?
Concert promoter. And that's how when I went overseas to Europe, I did all of the European tours for all these. In fact, here's one of Idle Cure. I didn't even realize. I forgot I wore this. Right.
Now, they ended up signing onto your record label, didn't they?
Right. And, actually, I even designed this, this is their album cover, an eclipse. And I don't know if it makes sense. It made sense to me. Basically, it's an eclipse where, you know, the moon or the sun eclipses the moon or the moon eclipses the sun. In other words, it's Jesus eclipsing us.
Yep.
So, you know, the whole intent is we're supposed to get to the point where Christ eclipses us.
Yeah.
And that's what the whole idea is. And the name of the album was Eclipse that we did. But anyway, yeah, but that's a little bit of a story.
I do want to say, in season 1 of our podcast, back in summer of 2021, he was our guest.
Yeah.
The lead singer, I forget his name.
No, he's a guitar player. Mark Ambrose.
Mark Ambrose. Yeah. In fact, he invited you up to Montana to his place there, and you guys did that podcast.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. And all of those old podcasts, you can pick them up, freshblack.coffee.
There you go. But anyway, back to the original thing, Jesus Revolution.
Yep.
Please go see it. I have to tell you, Dave, it brought tears to my eyes a couple of times. And it was so honest because it showed where Greg Laurie, who's now pastor of a huge church, Calvary Chapel of Riverside, California, and he does these large crusades, these mega, you know, stadium crusades. And he's very well known. Back then, he was a hippie. He's an artist. He has these little tracts, Trucking for Jesus. They were these little gospel tracts and books that he did. He's a great artist and animator. And to see where he's come, the gifting he has, that he ended up essentially taking on the mantle. It's like Elijah and Elisha. Chuck was Elijah and he became Elisha to Chuck Smith.
Yeah. In fact, I watched on TBN's Praise the Lord Network where Greg and Chuck Smith were guests of Paul Crouch, and in fact, Chuck just said, "Look, I'm moving off the stage now. It's Greg's time."
Yeah,
and it was quite a monumental thing. That was in the early '90s.
Yeah.
It was incredible. So, hey, and I want to say, if you go to freshblack.coffee, last week's episode, I put at the bottom the trailer for the movie. Yeah, fantastic. These are not cheesy, you know, fourth-rate performances. Kelsey Grammer is the lead in this.
Everybody is great actors in this movie. It's really well done. I can't remember his name now. The guy who plays Jesus in The Chosen, he plays Lonnie Frisbee in this also, and he does a good job. It's very well done. I really highly recommend it. I'm going to see it probably at least one more time, if not a couple of more. So anyway, bless you guys. We're going to move on now to some less spiritual, less enlightening, less joyous stuff. But I want to talk about how progressive Democrats, especially progressives, not all Democrats, please don't let me stereotype all Democrats. There are good people that are just unfortunately still trapped in the party of these progressive pigs, okay?
Yeah.
And I apologize to pigs everywhere, for these. Seriously, they're bad. And there's no loyalty. They will use you, abuse you, and spit you out and throw you away when they're done with you. Yeah. And what I'm speaking of is this week they took Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger, and these are liberal progressives, basically. I mean,
journalists.
Journalists. And here's the thing too. This is what I hate so much too about what the Democrats have done, which is a communist tactic and a cult tactic that I've discussed many times, how they will take terms and flip them on their head. And they will steal a term and totally destroy it. Yeah. And they'll take the term liberal. For example, liberal actually does not mean what it is turned out to mean. Democratic is not what the Democrats are trying to make it now. When they use it, they overuse it and abuse it. But so these men, Matt and Michael, are what I would consider true liberals. The hippies of old, of the 60s, I believe they were true liberals. They were true free spirits. They sought, to me, the original hippie spirit was a pure spirit seeking true love that can only be found in Jesus Christ. Yep. I'm just gonna say that, okay? They were searching for something pure, something right, and it got co-opted and misused, okay? And that's what has happened with so much of progressivism and the modern liberalism, which I believe the communist parties, socialists, communists, have co-opted and taken in another direction.
Yeah, and they become the opposite of liberal.
Exactly.
They're intolerant.
Illiberal.
Yes, they're suppressive. There's no doubt about it. In fact, you talk about the old Democrats that you and I refer to them here in Oklahoma as the Cole County Democrats. There's one county in Little Dixie that the voter registration is still majority Democrat. But they're one of the most conservative societies down there. I've been down there and everything. You know, it's just kind of we're Democrat. Mom and Dad were Democrat. We're Democrat. But the Democrat Party has left them, not just nationally, but the Oklahoma Democrat Party has abandoned them.
You know, it's funny, Dave, but and people, before you came, Dave was a little late earlier.
A little?
I happen to be going through some photos on my computer. I don't know how I stumbled on these. Maybe it was specifically for this purpose. But these were German photos of me as a 5-year-old, 5, 6 years old in Germany, a little kid. And I was in this little German village. I was the only fly in the milk, the only black kid. And I have all these pictures of me. I was the only black kid in my kindergarten class. So there's the class picture of me and all of these little German kids, right? And this is in the middle of Bavaria, Nazi stronghold, right? Not even in a big city. I'm out in a rural village where Hitler stronghold. And here's this black kid, the antithesis of Aryan.
Yeah.
Okay. Yet I had most favored child status.
You're Jesse Owens.
Well, Jesse Owens.
He's the one that embarrassed Hitler.
Yeah, and I'm the guy carrying the flag at the parade, right?
Yeah.
When they had this parade, the Mardi Gras parade.
Yeah.
I'm the one out carrying the parade. I'm the guy they're putting on the rides.
Because to them, all black people look alike, right?
Well, I did because I looked like me. I was the only one that could look. But anyway, no, but it's crazy because I thought about it. And so then I moved, from there to New Mexico. Right? I moved to Philadelphia and I was in the ghetto for a while. Uh-huh. But then moved to New Mexico, and then I look at my baseball team in New Mexico, and what happens again? Yeah. I'm the only black kid in it. And then a class photo.
But at least they were darker, though, right?
The only black kid in a class photo again in New Mexico. You know, it was an Air Force base. So it's crazy. So, but everywhere I went, you know, it's like Steve Martin in The Jerk.
Yeah.
I was raised a poor black child. But it was, I literally was raised a poor black child in an all white surrounding, but I didn't know it.
Yeah. Except for the Philly days. Those days, Philadelphia.
Well, yeah, cause everybody was black there, you know?
Yeah.
But it didn't mean anything. You see, at that age, I didn't know. I was just one of the kids.
Yeah.
You know, and, in fact, in that village that I lived, I ran the pack. Mm-hmm. It was a ghetto rat pack, but it was all white ghetto. Mm-hmm. We lived in, you have to get my book. Honestly, I recommend it because there's so much more than just stuff. If you get a chance, get it. It's on Amazon. You all have sinned. But I tell the story about me and my little all white German rat pack, my ghetto rat pack.
Yeah.
But, you know, and so, I'm trying to figure out how I even got here, but I think it's relevant that these racial things, the Democrats, that's what it was, they're so obsessed in trying to demonize a party and a certain group of people that they're lying, they're distorting, they're twisting, they're doing everything they can. And at the congressional hearings this week where Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger appeared, it was about the Twitter files.
Yeah.
And how the Democrats in collusion with the Twitter staff and leadership were subverting the truth and the freedom of the press. They were skewing facts. Mm-hmm. They were suppressing facts. They were doing all kinds of shenanigans. And here's the worst part of it. They were using the Sambos and Quimbos in the Democratic Party. And what the Sambos and Quimbos are is the black Democrats that they want to use, like Sambo and Quimbo in the book Uncle Tom's Cabin. If you haven't read it, you need to go read it because you'll find out who Sambo and Quimbo are. Oh, yeah. The characters are. Uncle Tom was a hero, and Sambo and Quimbo are the real villains in this, along with, of course, Simon Legree. They're working for Simon Legree, and Simon Legree would be Chuck Schumer and the rest of the Democrat leadership. But these Sambos and Quimbos have to be stopped, and we have to resist them. But anyway, Sambo and Quimbo, if you watch the videos this week of the hearings, ignorant Negroes is the best I can say about these people. And if Twitter or whoever, YouTube or Facebook wants to ban me, go ahead. You're just doing the work again of suppressing the truth, because that's exactly what these people are. They're ignorant Negroes, sitting there doing the work of some evil white man and women who are trying to suppress the truth and trying to now attack their own people. Mm-hmm. People who are trying to just reveal the truth. Yep. These aren't Republicans. These aren't wealthy, the one black congresswoman there sitting there, she's attacking, Matt Taibbi, calling him some kind of, fake journalist. Mm-hmm. She's questioning his journalistic ability, and he has won numerous journalistic awards.
Yep.
And the way he was able to keep his cool, I got to give it to him. I'd have jumped up from there and called her all kinds of names. I'm serious. I would not have been able to possess my vessel.
Yeah.
I would have let her have it, but that's just me. I've got to commend him. But anyway, the Democrat Party is full of these Sambos and Quimbos, and they have to be called out. Somebody needs to start calling them out. And, it's just sad. It's just sad. And they do it every time. They think, or they've gotten used to it, that all they have to do is, it's funny because liberals, every time they want to turn around, they want to call any black person in the Republican Party or any black conservative, oh, he's an Uncle Tom, Tom. We need to start wearing the name Uncle Tom as a badge of honor. Thank you, Sambo. Thank you, Quimbo. Thank you, Simon Legree. I mean, that's the way you turn it around, because these ignorant people don't even. I remember when I was with Pat Campbell.
Yeah.
Somebody actually had nerve to call me. They had some black person call and tell me. And I said, oh, really? Well, thank you. What are you, Sambo or Quimbo? And the guy just, boom, stopped him in his tracks.
Oh.
Yeah, just instantly. Who are you, Sambo or Quimbo? And the guy, he couldn't say click. Click. He was gone. Because he, first of all, he didn't know who Sambo or Quimbo were. And if he did, it would shut his mouth instantly.
Yeah.
And see, that's the type of thing that, I honestly, I have asked several people in this town, black officials, white Democrats, whatever, to debate.
Yeah.
They won't do it.
No.
They won't do it. Yeah. Because it reminds me of Eddie Murphy in 48 Hours. Did you ever see that?
Probably have. Yeah. One of the greatest comedians of my generation.
When they go into the bar, it's a cowboy bar, Western bar. And he said, who are you? He said, I'm your greatest nightmare. I'm a nigga with a badge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, anyway, nobody could do anything, nobody could do anything because he flips out this badge, and you couldn't do anything, it was just a brother off the streets or whatever, but he flips that badge. It's the authority. It's like when I was in South Africa. I've told the story. I'm in South Africa and the guy, he's, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I say one word. He says, oh, you're a Yank, are you? All of a sudden, everything changed. All of a sudden, I'm an American and, I'm untouchable.
Yeah.
I'm untouchable. I'm not black anymore. I'm an American. It's amazing. Certain things have power, right?
Yeah.
And so, I know I'm bloviating as Bill O'Reilly would say. I'm bloviating. I need to quit. But no, seriously, these congressional hearings, the Democrats should be ashamed of themselves, not just for putting these people up against Matt and Michael, but the lack of brain power of these people, right?
Yeah.
The ignorance with which these people came at that. And then when Matt starts answering the lady, she all of a sudden turns around and she's talking to her assistant there, pretending like she's not listening, not hearing, because he's eviscerating her on live television. And so she's acting like she doesn't hear it when America is hearing it, that she's just being cut to shreds. This is the game they try to play.
Yep.
And so I was very, very upset with this. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. We've got to be tired. If you're not upset and tired of this stuff, then something is wrong with you. You've got to start rising up. We've got to start supporting people and groups that will fight against this type of thing.
Yeah.
And even Democrats need to start rising up and fighting against this. And what would Malcolm X say?
He said that the American liberal left is the worst enemy of the black man.
That's right.
You know, that patronizing, oh, I'm here to help you. You can't get anywhere without me, without the government, my programs.
That sounds like, what was Ronald Reagan's?
Yeah.
The deadliest the nine deadliest words you could ever hear. Hi, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. No, Malcolm X saw it. Malcolm X realized that the Democrats were slime.
Yeah. Well, the left, and Rush Limbaugh did a great job of pointing this out over the years he was on the radio, it's a classical tactic of the left to proclaim themselves as the advocate for those who don't have a voice. The problem is sometimes people rise up and say, no, you don't speak for me. No, that's not what I want. Remember how they fought the Reagan administration over the Sandinista government in Nicaragua. And then Nicaragua finally had an election. And what do you know? They threw out the Sandinistas. You know?
Yeah.
And now, why do you think they're animal rights? Because animals can't talk. Why do you think they're for environmentalism? Well, because the trees don't talk.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So they can proclaim themselves, I'm here to speak on behalf of the downtrodden. In fact, you heard from Vice President Kamala Harris talk about climate mental health is the newest crisis.
Climate mental health.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I just laugh about it because they can't even define it. It's an amalgamation of these causes that they take up, climate and mental health. And in fact, this is what was so uncomfortable here in Oklahoma when I became a leader in mental health advocacy as a conservative. I sat down with one of the leaders. We went out for a burger. He says, why are you so concerned about mental health if you're a conservative? And I'm like, you don't get it. You know, and I'm trying to work with people on the left, and to grade about, I was able to, but I would have to be the more gracious one and say, look, for too long, the left has been carrying the load by themselves. And this is everybody's problem. But I just won't subscribe to their liberal solution. You know?
Well, here's what's funny. If you ever want to see how concerned leftists are about the environment versus conservatives, go to a conservative rally versus a liberal rally.
Yeah.
And then go see what it looks like afterwards.
Right. Exactly.
The pounds and acres of trash left behind.
Right.
At one versus the other. Conservatives, we know how to pick up our trash.
It's called stewardship.
Stewardship.
Yeah.
Exactly. And here's my thought. This is to Christians, okay? To Christians. If you're a true believer, okay, you should not be worried about us destroying the earth. It's almost like you're saying God went to sleep and woke up and said, oh, wow, what happened? What happened while we were napping? Oh, they've destroyed the earth. Do you think God is really going to give the power to destroy the earth to men?
Yeah.
I mean, really, we don't have that power, people. The power to create the world and end the world is in the hands of God and He alone. Jesus even said, if you read your Bible, that He will bring the end, right?
Yeah.
Not us.
Yeah.
Not Vladimir Putin. Not some Ayatollah. Not Xi Jinping. God will bring about the end of the heavens and the earth.
Yeah, Larry Norman said it well in his concert. He says, the reason I know the earth isn't going to be destroyed and blown up is because the Bible says Jesus is going to come back to earth one day. So there's got to be an earth for him to come back to.
Right. Yeah, well, that's true. And there are going to be people on it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, when he comes back, there will be people on it.
That's right.
They may be in a bad way, but there will be people on the earth. So,
Yeah.
if you're buying into the environmentalist line and we're destroying the earth, we're going to destroy the earth and then you're playing into the game of the enemy and people who think man is God, and you've got to stop.
Yeah.
You've got to stop. Either God is God or he's not. Mm-hmm. And if God is God, then he has the power and no man has that power.
This segues perfectly into a news story we are covering today, and I think it'd be good to, about how the left advocates for issues that they don't care about. It just furthers their cause of more political power. To that end, I was very involved in some of the medical marijuana policy discussions. And when what now we voted on this week, state question 820, I told one of our leading lawyers, I said, I don't think Michelle Tilley cares whether this passes or fails. She put this before the people. She's a Democrat political consultant in Oklahoma, Michelle Tilley. They really wanted this to be on the ballot last November because it'd be one more thing to drive their base out to vote and try to get Governor Stitt removed from office and get us Joy Hoffmeister. That's what it was really about. They didn't really care if it passed or failed. If you notice in the aftermath, and 820 went down this week by a huge amount. Now, my neighborhood, which is Democrat controlled, voted 70% in favor of it. Yeah. So they got their base out. Their base just is pathetic. Okay. And Governor Stitt did this brilliantly. He put this on its own election in the middle of March where it couldn't be used by any other political campaign. It was all by itself. And now we know.
What surprises me though is that I actually thought that this would be perfect for it to pass, because I honestly thought it would be couched in the whole thing of money for the children. The usual, like the casinos.
Yeah.
That more money for teachers, more money for students, for education, the usual line. And, that everybody, must save the children. And not only that it lost, but it lost so convincingly.
Oh, it didn't even make 40%.
I know. And it lost even in the cities.
Every one of the 77 counties voted down, including Payne County, Stillwater, including Norman, Cleveland County, the college, the university towns.
That's bad.
Yes.
That's bad. No wonder Tulsa King left the state.
Yeah. Now, I had to say, is it because they didn't have enough money for a campaign? Oh, no. When we passed, and Eddie, I was part of the group pushing 788, medical marijuana. I know, shame. We had $30,000 we'd raise. And the chamber gave over $1.3 million to vote no. Yeah. And we still passed it.
Well, but there's one word that differentiated that and this, and that's medical.
Medical, exactly. So I got, I think, at least 4 mailers vote yes. And I saw all kinds of commercials on TV. And then, and not a thing on the vote no. There was some press conferences.
Yeah, I think people just really figured out that this was not medical. Yeah. This was not. I mean, look, here's the deal. How much freer can you make it? You know,
I
when you drive down the road and there's a dispensary every, mile, there's a dispensary and we keep hearing these stories about the Chinese, they're busting these Chinese marijuana farms and you got this and this and this and this. I think that undid it more than anything else.
I think so. And by the way, to me, that's more an indictment against the enforcement that went on for the first 4 years. It was pathetic. Yeah. I think there are people in state agencies that wanted it to fall apart, including the first year there was no testing. And I think they were sure that people were going to die from bad weed, and nobody did. And so they had to wait and not go out and inspect and not. It's like they invited the corruption in. Yeah. And now they're cracking down. So, but here's what I want to get to. The language of 820, it's East Coast or West Coast language. I talked to some of the people who were involved in writing this, and they followed the tried and true Sacramento mindset of taxing the heck out of it and buying indulgences with sin tax money. And I'm so proud that Oklahoma was having none of it. Yeah. We weren't going to be bought.
That Colorado, Washington,
exactly.
Oregon, all the other
It's
stuff.
that same left coast mindset.
Right.
We're going to tax the heck out of it because then the leftists win two ways. They get the cultural change and the big government, both with the big tax money. Yeah. And I'm so proud of Oklahoma.
Well, that's two. That's twice now. They got rid of Joy Hoffmeister and we got rid of we kept it from expanding, And now they still need to tighten up the medical marijuana part, because there's still too much. I mean, honestly, 12 plants, too much. Yeah. Nobody needs 12 plants.
Yeah. So there was a major censor of a House member this week.
Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma.
Okay.
Maury Turner. I said she, who claims to be non-binary, biological she.
Does she dress like a man?
She dresses like an alien. Like a space alien. I mean, she's nuts.
Man.
But anyway, so the first week of the legislature, maybe it was the second week, all of the sexual perverts came out. The transgenders, all this. There's big rally at the Capitol because they were passing bills that said, no, you can't mutilate the genitals of a child in Oklahoma. And we're pressing forward on that. They're fighting against it. So we had one radical there who got in a physical assault of a state trooper and committed a felony. And he went and hid out in Representative Maury Turner's office. And she locked her doors and refused to allow the state troopers to go in and get him. She turned it into a sanctuary for a felon, or a, suspected felon, we'll call it at this point. And for that, the House leadership kicked her off of every committee, and I don't know if they're going to even let her have her own legislative assistant anymore. That's everything they can do short of expelling you. Because, I talked to John Eccles, the majority floor leader, several years ago when Dan Kirby was going back and forth and should he resign. And he said, Dave, he says, the rules and the Constitution aren't clear on whether we can actually remove him from office. We might still have to pay him. And I don't know that we can prevent him from floor voting. And so that's all she can do is floor votes.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is the kind of things that the Democrat Party and some of our leaders in the Democrat Party have reduced themselves to.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I'm proud of what we're doing there, and we are moving forward this legislative session.
Well, good. I'm glad finally that we have some legislators that are doing what they said they were going to do, which brings me to a point where our friend Nathan Dom.
Yes.
He apparently went on with Jon Stewart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's caught flack for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have to say, Nathan is a friend. I consider him a friend. I am on his side, even though I seem to many times not be on his side. I truly am. I like Nathan a lot. I truly do. I am not only sympathetic, I'm empathetic with his beliefs and his views, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The difference between Nathan and I is style. Mm-hmm. That's all.
Yeah.
I think Nathan, he reminds me of Marjorie Taylor Greene and Miss Boebert from Colorado. Sometimes, what did Jesus say? We're to be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. Mm-hmm. Sometimes Nathan is not necessarily as wise as a serpent. Mm-hmm. I think a bit of hubris got involved. He wasn't prepared for Jon Stewart, who I think is a snake. Mm-hmm. I don't like Jon Stewart. I think he is, I think he's a snake in the grass. I mean, I think he is a skunk. Apologies to snakes because I just talked about how they're wise. So let's just call him a skunk. Maybe I should apologize to skunks too. I don't know. But
I don't know that way.
But anyway, so Nathan got in a little discussion and John made him look bad.
Well, yeah, and Nathan did an interview last Saturday here for Tulsa Media. Can I tell you what he had to say?
Sure.
Okay. He said tape was rolling for an hour and a half, and then they spliced that down to 8 minutes. That's all he got. And if you look at the show, which I brought it up on Apple TV because it's on there, he spends the first 20 minutes of his show in a rant, and he's got laugh tracks, okay? This isn't even really all studio audience applauding. And then he brings on his panel of everybody that, looks diverse, but they all happen to agree with his opinion. And so he's massaging the whole issue and giving you a slanted narrative of his own reality for basically 45 minutes. And then Nathan gets 8 minutes, which John basically talks for most of those 8 minutes.
Okay. Like I said, wise as serpents.
Yeah.
So why would you go on? See, this is the difference between going on Jon Stewart and Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan only has a limited amount of time. You get on there.
Okay.
That's one thing I have to say about Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan is more of an honest person. Like, in other words, when you go on Piers Morgan, you're going to get a more on. It may not be. Let me talk. Cool your pills. Mm-hmm. So Nathan needs to know who he's dealing with before he steps into the arena. And because he may have done a local television interview or whatever, but there's a broad national audience that Jon Stewart has that will never see that.
Yes.
They will only ever see the 8 minutes that made him look not very wise or smart and did not portray him or Oklahoma in the best light.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So Nathan needs to, in the future, sometimes pick your battles. Tell John, thank you, but no thank you.
I've got a different solution. It's one Alex Jones did with Megyn Kelly. It's what Donald Trump did with Piers Morgan.
Bring your own crew.
Run your own video, your own sound.
Yeah.
Get it out. Because what Piers Morgan tried to do to Donald Trump just this last fall
right.
was horrible. I don't have respect for Piers Morgan.
Right.
And that, but you run your own video, you keep them honest.
Yeah.
And maybe you start seeing a better.
Right. Well, yeah, that's the other, you make that a condition of the interview.
Yeah.
That I will do this based on the fact you let me run my own video.
Absolutely.
Sure. No, that's fair. Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it's either that or you don't do it.
Yeah. Because then Nathan can throw that up on YouTube or whatever server and say, you want to see the full interview?
Right. John Stewart is a fraud.
Yeah.
You know, with the heading, John Stewart is a fraud.
Mm-hmm.
And they let John.
Well, and I think.
Did you see that there was a video where somebody, said something about John, made him look bad. And then he went out to see the guy and attacked him because he made him look like a fool. I don't know if you saw, this was about a year ago.
What's his name, with Human Events, who, on Real America's Voice, I can't remember. Yeah, John starts smearing him, and these guys agreed with John. And finally, they convinced John, we actually agree with you. And John finally had to say, yeah, you're right. You're right. You and I are on the
But it
same.
just shows what a short fuse and what a narrow mind that he has. I mean, that just shows he's not
I think he's he's an attention seeker. Mm-hmm. I think he's a camera whore is what we used to call him. You just want to have me in front of everybody. It's a celebrity rush you get from the applause. And now he has to use applause tracks.
Yeah. And I don't think, his audience is that great anymore. And I think that's why he's on cable. Mm-hmm. Not cable, he's on, what is he on?
Apple TV.
Apple TV. And I think he's going down from Apple TV. No, he's not where he used to be. So, yeah. Hey, let's talk about the, January 6th and Tucker Carlson. Again, he's probably public enemy number one right now. Mm-hmm. He's the new Rush Limbaugh. Mm-hmm. He really is. Yeah. It's funny how everybody's wondering who will be the new Rush Limbaugh. It seems to be Tucker Carlson. Mm-hmm. But somehow Tucker has been chosen to receive the 40,000 hours of video.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you watch 40,000 hours? You better have a big 40 people watching 1,000 hours or 1,000 people watching 40 hours, but it's a lot of video. Yeah. And he has gone through it and he's shown some things, and it really makes the Capitol Police and especially our media and the J6 committee look very bad, and they don't like it.
You know what they're resorting to? The members of the J6 committee are reduced to saying, I didn't actually watch any video.
Yeah.
I see nothing. I hear nothing.
And you mean, so you guys met for 6 months, and now your excuse is we saw nothing, but you came in with these great statements.
Yeah.
Denouncing Trump, denouncing these people, all of this, but you saw nothing. You had nothing to base that upon.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you people.
The most angry thing to me is Mitch McConnell ripping.
He's got to go.
He's got to go.
You know, I mean, honestly, he's in the hospital, right?
Yep.
I have to fight not to wish ill upon the man.
It's in God's hands, and evidently God's moving. Was that smooth? That was smooth.
Yeah. Which way are you praying for him to move? That's
Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, I think God's starting to call people into account. I mean, this is, Mitch, you can't keep doing this.
No.
You know who's next? Our senator from Utah. He better walk
Mitt Romney.
He better walk very carefully.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, these guys, the jig is up.
Sure.
I mean, you guys can't keep pretending that you're Republican and you're conservative with the stuff that you're pulling.
Yep.
This is not good. You know, Liz Cheney, you're done. Just stick a fork in her and she's done. She has nerve enough to pretend she's running for president. I mean, come on. She's a publicity hound now. Now that's all. She's just trying to milk whatever she can to keep herself popular. Kinzinger, they're making a fool out of him over on CNN. He's just trying to get paid, and he'll get paid for a little while. And they'll, as I was saying earlier, they'll throw him to the trash heap as soon as they're through using him.
Yep.
He's going to be a poor, sad individual eventually. And, the latest thing they're doing, they're in New York, they're trying to now bring Stormy Daniels back again.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. This is, and then, I just heard that basically this is a minimal crime, even if he's found guilty.
Well, in paying her isn't a crime at all.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying is, whatever they can try to get him, it's
all
not going to be.
All they're going to try to do, it's the Federal Election Commission has a way to.
They're trying to keep him from running for president.
Well, yeah, but basically, and this is fishing, because if they had evidence that he used campaign money to pay her off, then he would pay a fine. Mm-hmm. That's it, a fine. But they have no evidence that he used campaign money, so they are calling for investigation because they need to go fishing some more.
Right.
That's how corrupt. Now, keep in mind, are any of the people from the Russia in prison yet? No. But yet they've got plenty of time to go after him.
Yeah.
This is so corrupt. So corrupt.
It's showing, Oh, and have you've seen the latest videos on this nut job, jury foreman from Georgia?
Yeah, that chick. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We don't use such language about women, especially during National Women's Month.
I tell you what.
It's National Women's Month, Dave.
My wife likes
Show
to be
some
called
respect.
chick.
Versus a hen?
Yeah. Listen, once you're over 40, you don't mind being called Babe, Fox, chick,
yeah, you can always call them hens. Yeah, but, oh my goodness, that lady is loony.
She's ditzy, yeah.
She is.
Yeah.
My goodness. That would be grounds for throwing that out in a minute. That lady is out of her mind.
This is the problem. When anybody who's qualified to sit on a jury, they don't want him.
Whoever let her on, but it's a grand jury anyway.
Grand jury, yeah.
They'll just, somebody wanted him. That's why they put her on there.
And for people who don't know, grand jury doesn't mean it's better or greater or bigger than a jury.
No, they just grab a group of people.
It means, the prosecutor gets to throw out all these allegations and there's no defense.
Right.
And then the jury says, I wonder if you have a case, and it's just propaganda.
Right.
And it spends weeks and weeks and then, go ahead, It means go ahead and try him, go ahead and indict him, go ahead and milk him dry of any family wealth he has. Right. To, protect himself.
Problem is he's got lots of wealth. So good luck. Good luck with that.
Right. But this is a problem because how it affects you and me.
Well, us, you and me, it would be a big problem.
Eddie,
right.
There could be grand juries right now investigating us for something we couldn't even dream of.
Yeah.
And if a prosecutor can convince a grand jury, then we're going to get the sheriff serving us, or we might be getting a mugshot, This is the problem. This is the problem in America with the way our system is.
Yeah, it's funny because I was watching this PBS show. It's called Poldark, and different ones about the British justice or injustice system back in the 16th through the 18th century or so. And it was horrible. It was really bad, or 19th century even. But they had the debtor's prison, and so if some rich person didn't like you or whatever, they could find things and just throw you into jail forever, and I mean, it was horrible. I mean, it was just...
Oh, yeah. It was about punishment.
You had no rights.
If I couldn't pay off my bills last week, and now I'm in jail and my wife and kids are starving, you really think I'm going to be able to pay you next week?
Exactly, yeah.
This is the asinine thing of it. And thank God.
That's what separated America from Great Britain.
We put bankruptcy right in our Constitution.
Right. We had no debtor's prison.
Right.
There was no debtor's prison.
It's unconstitutional.
It was kind of like Jubilee. Our bankruptcy is the Jews, our version of the Jewish Jubilee.
Yeah, it was based on Judeo-Christian.
I don't have it. You can't do anything, so boom, we're done.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree. I
mean, you take what I have. We agree. If I have this or this, then,
Yeah. The one exception to that, and this is an Oklahoma problem, over the past 15 years, our legislature, in order to balance the books, moved more of our court system funding into fines and fees on people who come before the court. And so if you got arrested, you might be assessed a fine, $500. By the time you get out of there, you find out, no, you owe $838, because on top of the fine that the judge says, he assesses all of these fees that help pay for the judge. So now you got a built-in incentive on the courts to pay their own paycheck.
Right.
By doing this. Now.
Yeah. Something needs to happen. There needs to be some judicial reform.
But here's the exception to our ban on debtor's prison. You make arrangements to make payments of those fines. If you don't have all $800 and some dollars, you say, I can pay $40 a week. And listen, you're at the point of your own desperation where you'll tell them whatever just to get out the door in free again. And sometimes you overpromise and you get home and your wife says, you promised we'd pay them $100 a month. There isn't $100 in our budget. That's free. Right. We can't do more than 30. And that means no beer, honey. I mean, and this is a problem.
No weed this month.
You miss one of those payments. Guess what they do? They put you in jail.
Yeah.
They put you in jail. So they carved out an exception to the ban on debtor's prison for the courts to put you in prison for having a debt to the court.
To see that the judge gets paid.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. That's the other side of everything in America now, that our judicial system, it's gotten out of control.
Yeah.
Our judges, attorneys, etc., it's become corrupt. It's become corrupt. Let me just say it. You have corrupt judges. Actually, the reason you have corrupt judges is because they're corrupt lawyers that have become judges. I mean, that's basically it. They were corrupt when they were lawyers, and now they're corrupt judges.
You remember when we had Kevin Adams here, and he talked about he's got to be the public defender now because of the corruption in the public defender's office. They had to bring him in. And then they capped his attorney's fees for what's a very complex case. And then he needs to bring in an associate attorney to do some of this. And now they capped what he can pay an associate attorney to pittance. And several law firms have said they'll go broke taking on these cases.
Well, to the investigation of everything, the facts, and putting it all together and paying the aides, the clerks.
Right. So what Kevin said is he actually subpoenaed a former judge, and that judge admitted, yes, I was in a conference that the Supreme Court justices, the Oklahoma Supreme Court was there, and they're telling us, be careful how you handle these funds because your own retirement pension comes out of those funds. Yep. Yeah. So there's all kinds of corruption there.
Oh yeah. It's
but The problem is our legislature set them up that way.
Yeah, but no, I agree. And that's probably because you got a bunch of judges in the legislature or lawyers and prosecute or they're giving money to the legislators. Mm-hmm. So, and it's not, we're not picking on Oklahoma. It's a nationwide, it's a national deal. And it's not only corruption rules the land, people.
Yep.
We're corrupt. Let's just say it. We're corrupt.
Yeah.
And there's only one hope.
Yep.
Okay. One hope.
Yep.
And I don't have to tell you what that is. Hey, by the way, I just picked this off the wires this morning. It was actually revealed yesterday, but, Biden, remember how he said he's a uniter and not a divider?
Oh, sure. So is Obama.
Yeah, well, no, it's true. What Biden has done, he has been so good at uniting. He has united Saudi Arabia and Iran.
Wow!
Enemies that have been at it for a long
millennia.
Yeah, and now Saudi Arabia and Iran have joined forces and with one another and Russia and Turkey. I wouldn't be surprised if Turkey didn't leave NATO and join that alliance as well.
Turkey is a problem for NATO.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
And Turkey is directly north of what?
Well, Syria.
And?
Well, Israel. Yeah. Lebanon, that whole area.
Yeah. So, like I said, who said Biden wasn't going to unite?
Yeah.
No, seriously, it's crazy. Biden's good friend China. This is the other thing. Biden's good friend China has been the one who negotiated this peace between Iran and Saudi Arabia. And so now what you have, you've got Russia, China, Belarus, North Korea, Iran, and Saudi Arabia, all on their kind of united. Like I said, Turkey in the wings. Turkey wing. Anyway, and what's going on with NATO?
Yeah.
Not much. In fact, I wouldn't call it NATO anymore. I'd call it not so much. But, this is what happens. We got a weak leader. We got a Neville Chamberlain. We've got a Neville Chamberlain. In fact, my apologies to Neville Chamberlain, because Neville Chamberlain, was probably a better leader than, Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Biden is absolutely not only the worst president that the United States has ever had, he's probably the worst leader that any, country in the last 2 centuries has had.
You know, one of the biggest reasons why the left wants gun control, gun registration in America is they're concerned that we might be so loose that we might start arming our international enemies. And I think about what Biden did in Afghanistan. He handed over, 80,000 machine guns to the Taliban. I mean, Neville Chamberlain never did anything like that.
No.
This is just how bad it is.
By the way, we're so worried about guns and that we want to control and take, register all the weapons and control guns and so forth. And I just see we're in Germany. Germany just had a gunman kill nine people. A gunman, and which that's huge for Germany. In fact, it's not the first one. It just happened a few years ago as well in Germany. And let me tell you, Germany, you can't own a gun privately unless you join a hunting club. You have to be a member of a hunting club. It's like joining a fishing club, but you have to a rod and gun club. If you're a member of a rod and gun club, basically, then you can get a gun license, and it's basically for rifles. You're not allowed to own handguns and so on.
And I'm sure over there they're blaming Switzerland because they arm the teenagers, right? They arm the teenagers.
Everybody in Switzerland, by the way, I think it's 15 or 16, owns a gun.
Right.
Yeah, because that's their army. They're so small, but you don't want to mess with Switzerland. That's why nobody ever goes to Switzerland, because everybody is armed. Everybody's armed. Yeah.
And how many mass murders have they had?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This is the problem with, Jon Stewart and Nathan. He may have mentioned it. It might be in that hour and 40 minutes that we didn't get to see. Why doesn't Oklahoma have the Philadelphia and Chicago and New York City problems?
Yeah, the other, you know, it's funny too. Everybody always wants to bring up Australia and New Zealand and how they've reduced their gun murders and so forth. Do you know, one of the highest murder capitals or countries in the world is one that's right south of us, right? Mexico. Uh-huh. Mexico has the most stringent gun laws on earth. Mm-hmm. You can't get a gun in Mexico.
Right.
Nevertheless, the gun murders in Mexico are out of control.
Yeah.
In fact, this week, what do we have? We just had two Americans killed.
Yep.
They got the criminals right away, and there's a big mess right now. You know why there's a big mess? Why do you think there's a big mess? Why is Mexico all of a sudden taking big steps to correct it?
Well, the video.
No, but why? What makes it?
Me.
Because the people they killed are black.
Oh. Yeah, no.
See, cause remember, what was it, a year ago? They killed, there was a van with a family, and they were white, and they were killed and it just went away real quick.
Right.
They killed two black people, two black men, and now all of a sudden.
Yeah, I personally believe that the cartels handed over those people because it's a PR thing for the cartels.
No. The cartels handed them over because these guys screwed up. They shot the wrong colored people.
Right.
That's why they did it.
Right. It's a PR thing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it was a PR thing because the president told them, you got to hand these people over because you shot the wrong people.
Right.
If they had been white, it wouldn't have been a big deal.
Yeah. The cartels are so powerful in Mexico. They are a law unto themselves. Mm-hmm. And to some degree are handling social services. I mean, it's like organized crime is what it is.
Oh yeah, we take care of you, you take care of us.
Right. And, one of the things that greatly hinders the economy in Mexico is if Americans are afraid to travel down there. They like our money coming down there. I mean, this family was down there for a medical procedure.
Well, she was getting a tummy tuck. They do tummy tucks and plastic surgery and stuff, right?
Right. Because we've regulated it out of it, beyond what most people can afford here. And it really boosts their economy. And this greatly hindered that, especially the kind of people that would come down there and spend $10,000 in a week. That's what I'm saying. I think it's a PR thing.
Right, but again, you missed my point.
I think you got a valid point.
If they weren't black, it'd be a news story for a few days and it's gone.
I think it's all of the above. I think that.
Right,
I think
but because they're black, they had to deal with it instantly. Obrador, the president, got involved, called the cartel people, said, "You deal with this now."
Exactly.
If you don't want, because there were calls. Remember, there were calls for sending our special forces down to Mexico to clean up. Yeah. And so they got the message real quick that you better take care. And all of a sudden, we found where the survivors were, and we arrested the people.
Yeah, you remember seeing the movie The Godfather, where the 5 families come in and they got community problems that they fixed.
Right.
The mayor didn't fix it.
Right.
Of course, it was organized crime because they were so entrenched and so empowered that the president of the country had to tell the cartels, you got to deal with this, and the cartels dealt with it.
Right. That's right. Exactly. Exactly. No, they realize they better. Yeah. So anyway, let me see. Now, we covered this earlier, the whole marijuana law thing and everything. I was just thinking Oklahoma seems to be moving in the right direction. Now, if only we could get rid of our grocery tax and our state tax, Oklahoma would flourish like Florida and some others. I mean, we would have people moving here in droves. I mean, the state would just explode. It would go nuts, which I would love to see. Okay. Now you can't convince Democrats because they can't think far enough ahead to see that. But here's the other side of the problem. You'd be inviting all the people from California and these other states to move into Oklahoma. And then, we're already seeing it in Oklahoma City and in Tulsa, slowly turning purple.
Yeah.
And eventually we would become probably a liberal state, and then they'd want to start introducing taxes again and they would ruin our state.
And then they have to move to Arkansas and ruin that one.
Like Pac-Man. Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. But anybody that really understands economics and human nature would understand that if Oklahoma would get rid of their grocery tax and get rid of their state tax and the revenue, and just go with sales tax. Our sales, I mean, can you imagine when you free up that other money? I mean, I've got a young kid I'm trying to hire as an agent.
Yeah.
And create a career for and become an insurance agent. And he sells cars now. But I was just thinking, if this happened, man, that car lot, they'd be selling cars like hotcakes. I mean, if the money, the state income tax that people pay and the grocery tax, if that money went back into the pockets of the people.
Right.
And they could use that then to buy cars, to buy luxury items, things like that. Man,
so
houses, cars, you name it, it would explode.
Yeah, if I could, as an illustration, was it the first weekend in August? We have a tax holiday on anything school related. And man, you can't get a parking spot anywhere close to the front doors of the mall or the shopping center. Here's the enemy who's trying to stop it. Okay? The State Municipal League, the Oklahoma Municipal League. Because half of those taxes you pay, roughly about half, doesn't go to the state. State just is the pass-through, goes back to your community. And those communities cannot think outside the box to how else are we going to fund all of these parks and special, projects. We need this grocery tax money. The Municipal League is the lobbyist at the state legislature on behalf of the municipalities. And you gotta talk, what I'm saying is, your real enemy in this is your city councilor, your mayor, the person who runs agencies of your city government. Because they know that their programs and their next pay raise is tied to that money coming in. That's what our problem is right now. That's the biggest pushback against the grocery tax thing.
Yeah, but couldn't they just fix that with just give themselves a raise or you make adjustments down the line to accommodate for that. But I mean, just think of, you and I know that as conservatives, okay, as Republicans, we know historically we've seen this, that when you lower taxes, tax revenue increases.
Sure.
I mean, it's just so, but there's no trust on the other side for that. But we know it happens because people, when they get money, they spend money.
Right.
When you spend money, it means tax revenue increases.
Yeah. Now, I come from the People's Republic of Minnesota, okay? It's gotten very liberal. Do you know they never have charged taxes on groceries and still don't, okay? So you can't say, the leftist states are far worse. It's an issue of, why do we tax people to live? Why do they need to pay us taxes to eat their next meal? That's really what it comes down to. They don't tax groceries and they don't tax clothing in Minnesota.
See, I'm still trying to figure out where all of the money in Tulsa goes. No, seriously, because getting here, getting anywhere, our roads are absolutely horrible. They're horrible. And I keep hearing, it's the weather. It's the weather. The roads, you can't keep the roads. And twice a year or more out here on Memorial, they throw gravel and put tar down and gravel. And all it does when you roll over it, it throws up on your car.
Yep.
Messes up the undercarriage of your car.
Yeah, it cracks your windshield.
Yeah, behind you, and your own car that chips the paint and stuff. And so, and then, a week after they put it down, the same holes and ruts are back on the street. And, they're widening some streets and so forth. And they work down between 81st and 91st for like a year. Oh, and they put sidewalk. It took them like almost a year to put sidewalks down there. And I'm thinking, why are you putting sidewalks there? Nobody walks on those. Nobody walks between 81st and 91st. Nobody's riding bikes down there. Why are you spending all this money on sidewalks that nobody uses or is going to use? And instead of using that money, all the concrete you use, the digging crews and everything, whatever all you did, why not save that space for later when you might want to add another lane one day and use the money to throw blacktop over those.
Yeah.
And I mean, whoever's doing this are the stupidest people. Several years ago, they built a soccer complex out on Highway 75 towards Bartlesville. And I told them, you need to build a soccer, up by, O'Brien Park up there, North Tulsa.
Dice Park.
Yeah. And there was land and people were already up there. There's a golf course and everything. But no, somebody wanted to get paid. So they built it up by O'Brien Park.
Yep.
I mean, not O'Brien, way out, north, farther north, up there. They don't use that thing.
No.
It just sits there.
Yep.
And they got to pay to keep it up. But there's never, and they're talking about, now we're going to bring in these national soccer tournaments. We're going to bring in.
Oh, God, yeah.
They don't have him. It's not happening.
They're selling a pipe dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they built this BMX headquarters with they built a BMX park. You got idiots running these things, these projects by, instead of talking to people who actually know, I knew you didn't need that. So it made no sense to put it by Highway 75 because, and the way to get off of there, it's just congestion and you're backing up traffic on Highway 75. I mean, all the way around, it's just not right.
But that neighborhood needed a park, didn't they? Isn't there a neighborhood around there?
No, it's not.
Of course not.
All right, I see it.
Slapstick. No, that's the problem. They put it to where people have to drive out there, or maybe we put a sidewalk so they can walk out there.
Yeah, and just think about it. If you did it by O'Brien, it could, help. There's restaurants closer.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to drive all hotels everything's closer, but now people have to drive all the way up. I think it's by like 116th Street North or something way up there.
Yeah, almost to the Skytook turnoff there.
Yeah. And you see out there, there's a nice soccer field. There's soccer fields out there that nobody's ever playing on. Yeah. I mean, come on. I mean, it's insane. And I talked to, and I even met with him, and so what is it with the engineer? I told him, the people who are planning, I said, this is ridiculous what you got planned here. And they just looked at me like they knew, deep down they knew, but no, we talked to this person and this person. I said, those people don't know their butt from a hole in the ground. Yeah. Why would you talk to them?
That's probably was a Tulsa County thing. It's outside of the city limits.
I think you're right.
And Kelly Dunkerley needs to answer that next time we have him or Darren Ganson here. Because I think the county is awash in money. And they pass these bond proposals by saying, Skytook, you'll get a new community center if you guys pass all this, other stuff. Yeah. And this is a problem that's happening. I've got a few things in mind. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, I would just to wrap it up, but if we could get rid of our grocery tax, get rid of the state tax in Oklahoma could explode. I mean, Oklahoma would probably, we're not the size of Texas, but we could probably compete with Texas like nobody's business.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of land. We got water. You think of the lakes. The out west. I mean, to me, Western Oklahoma, oh my goodness, some of them was beautiful, way out past Clinton, out to the west and Weatherford all up there that nobody, oh my goodness. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful areas.
Really?
Lawton, especially that
the Washoe Mountains there around Lawton, Cheyenne,
Beautiful, beautiful places in Oklahoma. I mean, most people don't even know the beauty of Oklahoma, even south, down in Osage.
Oh, there is no more beautiful part of Oklahoma than the Winding Staircase Mountains, Little Dixie area.
Yeah. They probably don't want people down there.
They could use money. I ran into
I'm sure they can use money, but they don't get us your money, but you stay home.
Yeah, I ran into Wes Watkins, a former congressman. He was Democrat and he became Republican.
Right, I remember.
And I had just come back from being down there. And I ran into him on the Stillwater campus. I said, that is the most gorgeous part. He said, he says, a lot of poverty.
Oh yeah.
Says, he said, that's what I did in Congress was try to somehow get as much government money in to prime the pump. Mm-hmm. He says it was a never ending issue for him.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful. I mean, Oklahoma people, if all you've ever see is Tulsa and what's that other place on big city here in Oklahoma? Anyway, if that's all you ever see is Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Stillwater, you haven't seen the beauty, that kids always used to go to the, it doesn't matter.
I tell you,
with Buffalo, we had the Buffalo.
Yeah, the Tallgrass Prairie Reserve.
And
Willow Rock.
Yeah, Willow Rock and the Wild Mustangs.
Yep.
I mean, you don't even know. Most people don't even know we still have thousands of Wild Mustangs.
That's a great day trip. Talamina Drive, Highway 1 is the most gorgeous mountaintop. You're driving over a ridge at the top of the staircase, Winding Staircase Mountains. Yeah. You can't beat it.
Anyway, that's our commercial for those of you that don't live in Oklahoma. You may want to come
How would you, Matt Pinnell?
Hey, let me take a quick break here just before I'll let you show you there. Low T Center. Yeah. If you haven't been, you need to go. South Memorial, behind Hideaway Pizza, directly behind Hideaway Pizza, the Low T Center of Tulsa. I've been there for many years. It's not just for the typical things you hear on the radio, people advertising. It's really a health center, and I recommend it highly. It's kept me fit, healthy, And, in so many ways, in fact, I just did my blood test. They do an annual blood test. Actually, it's a semi-annual, blood test to see, but they'll discover if you're pre-diabetic. They'll discover if you're low in iron. So many different issues besides your typical sexual function or dysfunction. But anyway, so many things. Just the thing for me is my vitality and my energy levels. That's what testosterone is really about. It keeps your muscles. My skin is not hanging and sagging. I still have a bit of muscle. And yeah, I mean, it's just keeps you healthy. Okay. Yeah. So if you get a chance, give them a phone call, Low T Center, in Tulsa, down South Tulsa, just behind Hideaway Pizza. It's almost in Bixby, but, I think you won't be disappointed if you go. Free consultation.
Whoa.
And then you can go if you want.
Free?
Yeah, consultation.
First one's free?
First one's free, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then you can go from there. It's up to you after that. So.
How many doctors say your first visit's free? That's what I want to know.
Oh, well, yeah. No, most of them don't.
Incredible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You never knew that? I thought you knew that.
I don't know if they all knew that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But the other
good casting it upon you.
And the other thing, mental health.
Yeah.
Because that's what led me to really checking on this, is I thought I was dealing with depression. No, it was my testosterone need a boost.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd be surprised. I didn't even know mine was low. I didn't know what the range was.
Would you rather be on psychotropic drugs or just get a testosterone shot? Yeah. See what I'm saying? It was the best news.
There you go.
The solution I was hoping for.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Dave, it's all you now.
So, Robert Redfield.
Robert,
the former director.
Oh my!
Center
I couldn't
for
believe
Disease
that.
Control.
I thought he was on the other side.
All right. The fissure is happening. The crack in the boulder is happening because we've got this. The deep state medical community is now turning on each other. Fauci has come under all kinds of really accusations. And Robert Redfield, who was Trump's head of the Center for Disease Control, he said this was a lab leak, right? This was an accidental lab leak. He says there's just no other way to put it. And he's now saying he was left out of conversations where they were trying to develop their full perspective. And now Fauci's in denial mode like crazy. This is an amazing thing. Get your popcorn and watch. This is going to be fun to watch. So I tell you what's going on with the hearings, both Senate and House, especially the House. I think, get ready. We're going to see some good things. Which leads me to another thing. Why I was an hour late this morning. Okay. Robert McCullough, who was just lambasted, as one of these leading, editors of a medical journal, very respected and everything. But he left the reservation when it came to COVID and he started blowing the whistles. How come we aren't developing protocols for outpatient care? Why? It's like they're trying to make this into a bigger pandemic than it needs to be. And he has come up with some of his own review of some of the government studies. And he's come up with a fantastic way of getting these spike proteins out of your system now. There's no money in this, okay? Unless you're bottling and distributing. He mentions nattokinase. And it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago I heard about it, so I went ahead and ordered it. Nattokinase is an enzyme. It's a protein enzyme from fermented soy products. It was developed in Japan centuries ago. And not only does this help your body digest, that big old 18-ounce steak you had last night, but what it does when it gets in your bloodstream, because it'll break down blood clots. And it's amazing. Now, it doesn't have the dangers that you would have from taking anticoagulant drugs, like a person with a blood clot in their leg, because they could bleed out, right? It could prevent the platelets from working. Your platelets aren't hindered by this, but it's just the clot breaks down. So I started taking it because I took the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And I was like, if that spike protein is still roaming around in my system, it's time to get it out. Then I found out some other things. Oh, no side effects unless you happen to be allergic to soy, which, there's hardly anybody is.
It has soy in it?
It is based on fermented soy.
I see.
Now, the next thing I thought of is, wait a minute, soy has estrogen. The fermentation breaks down and destroys the estrogen, so you don't have to worry about it counteracting your testosterone shots, because why would I do that, right? So the next thing I found out is I started sleeping longer. I look it up and they said, it enhances your melatonin in your system. What do you know? I can sleep more than 5.5 hours a night, And, so anyway.
As he proved this morning.
As I proved this morning. And, so anyway, look into it, folks. Nattokinase, I ordered it from Amazon, and I think I paid a few bucks for this.
Can't get it at Walmart?
Oh, I'm sure you can. Because it's a protein enzyme.
Right.
And it's, and actually it was a food enhancement thing in Japanese cooking. It actually made the soy taste better when they fermented it. And so they started using it that way before they found out there's any health benefits.
When I hear the word ferment, it makes me think of getting high.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't trap those gases and put it back in, which is what wine happens, right? Difference between wine and vinegar. Nobody gets drunk from vinegar. Vinegar is a fermentation, but we just let the gases escape.
Okay.
That's a difference on that. So,
okay.
And
we see the things you can learn here on Fresh Black Coffee.
Right. But the first few weeks that you take this, set your alarm clock so you don't oversleep. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to have to try that.
Yeah.
So that I can.
Yeah, you can take a look at that and see what you think.
So that I can get more than my 5.5 or 6.
Yeah. And I got one other thing.
All right.
One of the largest banks in America just collapsed yesterday. The Silicon Valley.
Wait, SVB?
Yeah. And by the end of the day, Steve Bannon was talking.
Silicon Valley Bank, by the way, for those of you.
Yeah. And for those of you who are fans of CNBC, Kramer.
Jim Kramer.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, he said, it's a great place to invest your money right now.
Yeah. Don't pay any attention to any of the stuff that's going on. It's going to be fine.
Yeah. Now, what's unusual about Silicon Valley Bank is most of their capitalization didn't come from typical consumers, running their checking account.
Right. It was the crypto.
Right. And so, now this bank has been funding a lot of startups on Silicon Valley, a lot of high-tech things and stuff. So it's speculative. It's risky. But here's the problem. And inflation, I'd have to say, is one of the leading causes of this. Because when you're carrying a bunch of loans at 1%, and now it's costing you 3% to get money from the Federal Reserve, or 5%.
Yeah.
A lot of banks failed in the 70s because of the hyperinflation.
Right.
Because the banks are losing money by borrowing you continually.
Yeah. The rate is up to 4.5 or 5. Yeah.
The good news is, while the FDIC will guarantee the depositor up to 100,000, 125,000. Almost all of the funding of this bank is not covered by FDIC. So there's going to be some major collapses and it's going to have a chain reaction. I don't know that it goes to other banks, but the symptoms that impacted this bank failure are the same nationwide, and other investment banks are going to be there. The last thing I want to say on this expect our federal government, particularly Department of Defense, to call for a bailout of this bank. And they will say Silicon Valley develops most of our top innovations in our weapon systems. And they're going to use that as an example to bail out these big wealthy people.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think this one bank that they're going to bail out. There may be some others, but I don't. For example, if it were to affect J.P. Morgan, Chase, some of those, I think they would, but I don't think SVB is going to get a bailout from the feds.
On merits, I don't think so. But on politics, there are two big stock trading houses, the biggest monsters in 2008, Lehman Brothers and Goldman Sachs. The difference was...
There is no more Lehman Brothers.
Right. The difference was Goldman Sachs was buddy up with the Obama administration. Obama bailed out Goldman Sachs, but not Lehman Brothers.
Right.
And now Goldman Sachs has a monopoly, you know.
That's why, like, if Goldman Sachs was about to bite the dust because of SVB, then we might see that happening, but I don't see it, or J.P. Morgan, Chase, but I don't think it's going to happen, with just this one bank out there. So we'll see. We'll see. If they do, hats off to you for calling it.
I got one anecdote on this.
All right.
In the last 2 weeks, Silicon Valley Bank, in part of their public press releases, has talked about all the diversity, equity, and inclusion training that they forced on all of their staff. And all their practices in lending and everything. And the axiom of Donald Trump holds true. Whatever goes woke
goes broke.
Goes broke.
Yep. That's true. Yep. So anyway.
Interesting week this week.
It's been a good week.
Yes, it has. Best week so far this year.
And as Porky Pig, you say, yip, 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 yip. That's all, folks. Yeah. So, hey, listen, it's been good. It's been real. And, it's been fun. It's even been real fun. So anyway, we look forward to, seeing you all again next week. And, well, Lord willing, of course, right?
Yeah.
So,
all right.
For Dave, myself, you all have a very, very wonderful week. God bless. Goodbye.